Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is going to be a championship transfer rumour video, and I'm actually very excited to bring this one because it's been quite a while since I did my last video. However, I should be back now to regular uploads, so make sure you do go ahead and drop me a follow on Twitter, as I always do tweet before I do upload a video, therefore you'll never miss a video ever again, guys. So what we're going to be doing today, first of all, we're going to be rattling over some of the completed transfers which have already gone through in the championship, and then I have an absolute abundance of championship rumours to go ahead and bring to you guys. So what I'd be very interested to know from you guys is, out of anything really, what positions do you think your club needs to strengthen the most in this transfer window? I'd be very interested to know from that one, because I think there are there's a range of different teams in the championship now who are in need of different things, in my opinion, and that's been seen really with some of the transfer rumours which I'm going to bring to you guys. Also as well, what do you think of these transfer rumours, and who are you hoping that your club will sign in this transfer window? Let me know down below. But just before we do get into any of the transfers, I will include your guys' comments on screen, so if any of you guys did successfully manage to predict the scoreline to the championship playoff final, I will include your comment on screen now. So fair play, there is only a few of them, there's only a very select few of people who managed to get this right, and fair play to Huddersfield, of course. They have now been promoted to the Premier League, and commiserations to Reading, of course. It's just the most brutal way really to lose the final in penalties, but I suppose that's the business we're all in football, guys. But enough of that, let's get into some of the transfers. So first of all, in terms of some of the transfers which have already gone through, we first of all had Marley Watkins, who completes this transfer to Norwich, and we've actually seen in this video especially a lot of players being linked away from Barnsley at the moment. Of course, they didn't really have the best of January transfer windows either. They lost quite a few of their big players in that, and this summer as well really isn't looking great for Barnsley in terms of losing players. So hopefully for them, they'll be able to re-establish themselves this season and bring in, you know, the amount of quality that seemingly they seem to be losing at the moment. But Marley Watkins coming into Norwich, it's an interesting one. Let me know, Norwich fans, what you think of this one down below. Last season he did manage to bag 10 goals. He's quite I'd say he's a bit of a diverse player. He can take up a number of positions when playing, and I mean 10 goals last season. To bring him in on a free transfer, that's not bad business going from Norwich there. We also saw Heidi Sacco complete his move to Leeds United. Of course, he was on loan there last season, and he got 2 goals and 3 assists for Leeds last season. So let me know, Leeds fans, what you think about Sacco returning. And as well as that, we've seen Ryan Bennett go to Wolves on a free transfer as well. Of course, he was at Norwich last season. Wolves, I think, could be in store for a bonanza of a transfer window, really. I mean, obviously, they just got their new manager in Nuno. Let me know, Wolves fans, what you make of your new manager down below. Of course, Paul Lambert, it surprised me really that it took so long to get this new manager in. You know, the rumblings and rumours about Paul Lambert were going on for seemingly forever about would he stay or would he go at the club. But of course, he has left, and Nuno has now come in. So Wolves fans, let me know down below what you think is to come from the rest of this season. As well as that, we also saw Sean Maguire complete his move to Preston North End. He's coming from Cork City, who he's got a very impressive record for them. You know, in the 46 games he's played for them, he's managed to bag 31 goals. Albeit that is coming from the Irish League, but if we look at Preston's track record with the Irish League over the past couple of seasons, we managed to uncover some hidden gems in there. You know, of course, we've recently got Daryl Horgan and Andy Boyle, and we've got Alan Brown as well, so Sean Maguire could fit into that. And there have been other transfers which have gone through, but we don't have time to go through all of them in this video here today, guys, because the main reason we are here is to talk over some transfer rumours. So let's go ahead and get into that now. So the first one I'm bringing to you is actually Connor Washington, who has been recently being linked with a move to Birmingham. Of course, he is currently at QPR, and this was one that sort of caught me off guard, really. I wasn't expecting Birmingham to be linked with a player like Connor Washington. I mean, his strike rate at QPR isn't brilliant. He managed to score 7 goals last season, and I mean, he had a lot of promise when he came into QPR. You know, from Peterborough, he was an exceptional player in League One. Not really been able to transmit that into the Championship, so I'm not really sure what I think of that one. Birmingham, I think, could be another club who could be in store for a very interesting transfer window, of course. They got Harry Redknapp, so whatever could happen under him, it'll be very interesting indeed. We've also seen Graham Dorrans being linked with a move to Sheffield Wednesday, of course. Currently playing his football at Norwich. We've seen him play in the Premier League for quite a bit, but being linked to Sheffield Wednesday, he does, in an aspect, I can sort of grasp why they're being linked to him. I mean, he does sort of fit the bill into some of the other players Sheffield Wednesday have got playing in that position, but with Sheffield Wednesday, I mean, surely they're going to be having to target getting promoted again for the 3rd season in a row this time. Is Graham Dorrans the sort of player that would elevate them to that next level in pushing for automatic promotion? Not really, in my opinion, so I'm not sure what I make of that. And Rangers have also been linked with him, so he could end up going to either of them. And then we have Jordan HUGILL of Preston North End, who is just being linked with seemingly absolutely everyone at the moment. In January, Preston did reportedly turn down a bid of around about 2 million from Ipswich Town, who are reportedly interested in HUGILL's services once again. But the 2 clubs who have now come into the bid for HUGILL are both Wolves and Fulham. And I don't know really what I thought of this. Wolves, Fulham and Ipswich. Would they want John HUGILL? I mean, John HUGILL is a player who, at Preston North End, especially divides opinion. It's sort of like 50% of fans really do like him, and 50% of fans really don't seem to rate him. I mean, last season he did finish as Preston's top scorer with, I think it was 12 or 13 goals, which isn't a bad strike rate. However, considering some of the chances he did miss, he's not the best. He's by no means the finished article, but I think going forward, he's a player who has potential to grow into a very capable Championship striker. So is he a player who could instantly take a team like Fulham or Wolves to the next level? Probably not, in my opinion. So I am a little bit surprised that teams like Fulham are being linked with HUGILL. And then another Wolves rumour currently circulating. We have John O'Shea, who is being linked with a move to Wolves at the moment. That's quite an interesting one as well. Although, in terms of the John HUGILL to Wolves, I think that has sort of cooled ever since Paul Lambert did leave. That rumour hasn't really seemed to come back to the forefront. So I'll be very surprised, really, if HUGILL was to leave. And I mean, the figures that are currently being talked about, I mean, we've already rejected a bid of 2 million in January. So it will probably take about, I don't know, 4 million or something for Preston to consider it, and I'm not sure a team's going to be bidding that for HUGILL, in my opinion. And into quite an interesting transfer rumour, actually. We have Cyrus Christie, who is being linked with the move away from Derby County. And, of course, recently it has come out that he doesn't really think that he'll be in Gary Rowett's plans going into next season. Whether that's true or not, you know, we're not 100% sure at the moment. But he did actually recently say that he thinks that he is one of the best fullbacks in the league on his day. So, Derby fans, let me know down below if you do agree with that. But currently the team's being talked about in terms of Cyrus Christie. Sunderland are reportedly interested, and as well as that, Sheffield United are as well. What it would take for them to get Cyrus Christie, I'm thinking it'll be in the region of about 3 million, in my opinion, to secure his services. But I don't know really what I thought of that quote, really, of him saying he's one of the best fullbacks in the league. Derby fans, let me know what you make of Cyrus Christie. And then to seemingly possibly replace him, we've also seen Derby being linked with a move back for Andre Wisdom, of course. They had him on loan a couple of seasons ago, and they are being linked with a move for him, of course. He will be on the move in this transfer window. It's just yet to be seen where he'll actually go. But Derby are one of the teams who is currently being talked about in terms of that. And another transfer rumour going around for Derby is that Aiden Flint could be on his way to Derby County, which is quite an interesting transfer rumour, actually, of course. In the last transfer window, Derby really didn't do a lot of transfer business, so I'll be very interested to see if they do up their game in terms of going in for players in the transfer window this season. Of course, it's Gary Rowett. He's going to want to build a new squad, possibly get a new nucleus of players in, because they've got to be challenging for at least the playoffs going into next season with the current squad that they've got. But Aiden Flint's a player being talked about at the moment. Bristol City fans, let me know down below, how much would you want to get if you were to sell Aiden Flint? I'd be interested to know about that one. And then maybe a player to replace Aiden Flint is Kian Bolger from Fleetwood Town, who is currently being linked with a move to Bristol City. However, there are quite a few clubs who are interested in his services. As well as that, we also have Burton Albion and Millwall, who have reportedly being interested in getting this guy from Fleetwood, of course. Millwall recently being promoted. They'll want to be bolstering their squad coming into the Championship, as they'll want to, you know, survive if they can. And a rumour that really caught me off guard, and that I think is quite an unlikely one in my opinion, was Conor HOURIHANE, who has been linked with a move to Sheffield Wednesday, of course. That would be a controversial one, no doubt, after, of course, he was a Barnsley player at the start of last season, and if he was to make a U-turn going from Aston Villa to Sheffield Wednesday, he definitely wouldn't be too popular with the Barnsley fans then. But I think that I can't really see there being anything in this rumour. I don't think there is too much truth in it. I think he should be in Aston Villa's plans going into next season, and looking at what they want to build upon. And then talking about Aston Villa. We actually have quite a few transfer rumours regarding Aston Villa at this point in time. We first of all have Sam Johnson, who Aston Villa are reportedly interested in signing. However, they do face stiff competition from Premier League opposition for his signature. At this point in time, it's being talked about like Watford are also interested in Sam Johnson. Sam Johnson is a player who I'm a bit mixed on, really. Do I think Aston Villa could do a bit better than Sam Johnson? Yeah, I think they probably could. I mean, the current figures being talked about is around about 5 million, and do I think that Sam Johnson is worth 5 million? I'm not really too sure. I've seen him play for Preston before, and however, he was solid for us, but I don't think he was exceptional enough to grant that sort of price tag. I mean, I suppose you have to take into it, he is still a young goalkeeper. I think he's only about 24 years of age, so for a goalkeeper, that is relatively young. So you need to take that into consideration. I'm just not sure he's the finished article that Aston Villa require at this point in time. Villa fans, let me know down below if you do want to get Sam Johnson back in your squad. And then another player being linked to Aston Villa at this point in time is Josh Skerwin from Barnsley, a very interesting player who has been linked with a lot of Championship clubs at this point in time. We've seen that Villa have been interested, Brentford, Wolves and Preston have all reportedly been interested in Josh Skerwin. I think deservedly so as well. I think he's a very good midfielder, very tenacious in my opinion, and I think he'll do a solid job in any of those sides where he does end up at the end of the transfer window. And talking about players coming into Aston Villa, possibly a player who could be going out or could he be staying, we of course have Ross McCormack. I'm sure there's going to be a load of rumours circulating about Ross McCormack this season in the transfer window. Of course, last season probably, I mean, without doubt, the biggest flop of a signing for any Championship side. I think they paid around about 12 million for Ross McCormack's services, and only for him to then be loaned out to Nottingham Forest later in the season. But with wages of around about £50,000 a week, I can't see too many other Championship clubs being in for Ross McCormack. We've seen a couple of loan inquiries from Rangers and Aberdeen that have been talked about recently, but nothing too concrete that would suggest he's definitely going to be leaving Aston Villa in the summer. So what I'd love to know from Aston Villa fans is, do you think Ross McCormack deserves a second chance at Villa? Let me know down below, because his quality is, undoubtedly he does have quality if he has the correct mindset, but that is going to be pivotal if he is going to have any plans for, if Steve Bruce is going to have any plans for Ross McCormack. So Villa fans, let me know down below if you think McCormack has a future at the club, and any other Championship fan, would you want to see Ross McCormack sign for your team? Let me know down below. And of course, we're going to have the drama circulating around Charlie Taylor and where he will end up at the end of the transfer window. Currently, it's being talked about that West Brom are the side who are interested, but we've also seen a couple of other teams who could be snooping around for his services. So guys, that will now wrap it up for this episode of the Championship transfer rumour roundup. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for regular Championship content. I should be back now to regular uploads, so make sure you do stay tuned on the channel, as I have quite a few things planned over the summer which I'm excited to bring to you guys. But if you would like to see more transfer videos, let me know down below and leave a like on the video. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.